visa, and if you have a major or a bigger investment, then it will be under the resident visa. The biggest change, as I mentioned before, is the fact that now you can have a visa up to 3 years, which before it was only 1 year, so that gives you more opportunity to remain here in the country on the.
And that visa is the investor in a business, right? In a corporation?
Yeah, it's either the company is set up here in Colombia, you bring your money from abroad, you invest in Colombia, and depending on the size of the investment or the amount of investment, which should be above around 26,000 for the year 2018, then you will be granted between a 1 and a 3 year visa. We don't know now the specifics to be sure to get a 1 year or a 3 year visa, because hopefully we all want a 3 year visa. We suppose that it's going to be based on the amount it is, the biggest money you put into Colombia, then they'll be more than happy to have you for 3 years, not for 1.
Okay. All right. So YouTube has just joined us. I'm here with Diana from Colombian Legal Partners, also based here in the Life Afar headquarters in Medellin, co-working spaces, travel business services, English-speaking, legal, accounting, tourism services. What else? We got real estate, property management. We have investments. If you guys have specific questions about what kind of visa you need or what kind of visa you are curious about, send them now. We will answer your questions right here, right now, about what's going on. As of tomorrow, things have changed slightly. Not too much, but slightly. Things have been simplified into 3 different categories: visitor, migrant, and resident. Now, unless you have $160,000.
Well, yeah.
For the 5 year.
Yeah, well, the visa that everybody expects to have is the 5 year residency visa, which is 160,000 USD.
So unless you have 160,000, let me get YouTube up here. So unless you have 160,000 for this visa right here, chances are you're going to apply for the visitor or the migrant visa. All right. What are the most common types of visitor visas?
Well, the most common visitor visa would be as a entrepreneur, and it could be granted up until 180 days. Then if you're going to work here and you're going to be engaged with a company, then you will jump into the migrant visa, and that will give you up until 3 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. There you can fall also for the student visa, which is granted for the amount of time that you're going to be here in Colombia. They have officially requested that you have to be at least 10 hours a week enrolled to a public or private university that is recognized by the authorities. You can't be in a garage.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But you really have to, and you have to show that would be like the major ones, because the others is those are like
okay.
Like
so very simply, list them off. Which were they?
It's the visitors or the entrepreneurs who give advice for a business.
Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Entrepreneurs.
Consultants.
Yeah, consultants. That's the word.
Okay.
Consultants. Yes.
Yep.
Also, when you make an internship.
So consultants, interns, you're going for the visitor visa, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, when you provide temporary services, like if you're coming just, for example, to be a trainer of a football game, for example, but it's only going to be for a time, then you will fall into the visitor category.
Okay.
And let me see. Okay, and this is the last one, which is when there's a transfer of a human resource between an American or a foreign company and a Colombian company.
A relocation.
Yeah, a relocation.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So those are all under the visitor visa,
yeah.
which are most likely 1 year, right?
Yeah, most likely, but it could go up to 2 years as well.
Depending on their discretion.
Yes, discretion, and for example, if you show that your plan of being a temporary advisor and that you have a contract for 2 years, then the visa will be granted for 2 years. Okay.
Good tip. Hope you guys are paying attention to that one. So you can get a 2 year visitor visa if you're maybe even an intern with a 2 year contract.
Yes.
Interesting. A consultant with a 2-year contract. These are ways that you can to get a longer stay visa. All right. So, what are the more common migrant visas?
Okay, the more common are, the first one could be the rentist, or because of the amount of your income abroad. So if you show here that you have above, I'm not precise if it's above 4,000 USD, then you will get your rentist, or
Rentist, like a landlord?
like a rent. No.
Renter.
To receive a rent.
You
Your
have rental income?
Rental income, but it could be like if you have a CD, interest,
Oh,
or
okay,
something.
just foreign income.
Foreign income.
Foreign
Correct.
income. Okay.
Here we call it rentista, which
Okay.
I just translated.
Sure.
You can be also a pensioner, which you need a visa. You need
Okay.
a $720 dollars per month, which is not that much.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have well, those are the pensioner and the investor visa.
Pensioner. And
not
the investor visa.
No, it's not investor. It's the income. What I said, rentist, which is the assets, the income that you have abroad.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a monthly deposit in your account,
Yep.
then you can be eligible for a visa here if it reaches the threshold.
If it reaches it, okay. So if you have a certain amount of foreign income, you can apply for the migrant visa, which
Yes.
will be 1 year to same again.
Same again. But I guess the higher you show, then the more opportunity that you have on getting the 3-year visa. Okay, you can also have the spouse visa, which is it's granted for 3 years.
Now that's a change, right?
The change comes here. The change comes that when you had the spouse visa, after 3 years, you could ask for your self-residency visa. Now it has dropped into 2 years.
Okay.
Okay, so you don't have to wait until the 3rd year, but in the 2nd year, you can ask for your own personal residency visa. So you jump into the category of the 5-year residency visa.
Okay.
Okay, which is a good one. Also, the investors as shareholders, which is for 2018, the investment is around 26,000 USD. It will increase somehow for next year.
Okay. So the shareholder visa, that's a common type of visa that we use in our prep investment projects.
Correct.
So when I've shown you guys different preps in Bogota, Cali, Cartagena, Medellin, buildings that we're renovating, we operate the project under a SAS. And that SAS is managing all of the income, all of the expenses of that project. The investors, we fundraise the renovation of these projects through different investors. These investors become shareholders. The advantage of this style of investment is that they can, as a shareholder, they qualify for the shareholder visa, which will be under the migrant visa.
Correct.
Right? So under the migrant shareholder visa, the minimum investment amount is $26,000, which also happens to be our minimum investment amount. Correct. In the prep.
And I think that's one of the purposes. So we can give, because if you have a smaller investment, well, part of the good thing is to be here in Colombia, enjoy, have a legal status, and for that you have just your investment from once in such amount. There's one important thing is that you do not have to have the investment in only one project. You can add up your investments in different projects. So that is important. And the last important type of visa is when you have an investment in real estate. Okay, and if you have an investment in real estate that is above 86,000 USD but below 160, then you get your 3-year visa under the migrant category.
Okay. Okay, we've got some questions. Let's get to some of your questions. Let's start with Digby Fraser. He's asked a very common one. Let's say you're just visiting Colombia, and you totally should. Colombia is at the top of a lot of lists. You should probably check it out now. If from anywhere in the world, chances are you can just show up and get a visa stamp. Sorry, a entry stamp. It's not quite a visa stamp, right? An entry stamp for 90 days. That is still the same. Before the 90-day mark, you need to go to the DIAN. You need to the Migración Colombia, and ask for an extension. That's done in office. The process is constantly changing. Every year that I've gone there, it's been slightly different. They are improving it. There is a constant progression, a constant intention to simplify the process, and I think this simplification is kind of part of that same intention. So 90 days, right?
Yeah, excuse me, Sam. Before the visa or the tourist permission expires, you should go, as Sam is saying, and ask for the extension. Is not automatic. That has to be very clear, because in the people's mind is that you have up until 180 days. That's correct, but you must have the official stamp saying you got an extension. And if you overgo that, if you're planning to have, at some point you felt you're interested in living in Colombia, and you need, just because you already initiated the visa process and you need an extra more time, there's a salvoconducto permission, which is granted up on 30 more days, which are the ones that will give you like the last chance to be under a legal status here to get your visa stamped.
Sure. And there is still that 180-day limit per year for the tourist stamp?
Yeah, yes, but it has changed. It's not a calendar year, it's your personal year.
Okay, so from the first day you enter Colombia, that's when your personal year begins.
Correct.
Very good, very good. Okay, we got a little bit more of an advanced one here. Let me see if I can go up to it. No, I can't. All right. All right, so we have a question from Juan. I'm planning to move to Medellin next year. Good choice. And I want to know which type of visa is for me. We recently created a SaaS company, me and some partners. I'm not sure how much capital the company must have for an investment visa. What should the minimum amount of capital registered of the SaaS company be?
Well, it depends on the amount of partners you have, because each of you have to have for next year around 27 or 27.5 thousand USD. So that depends. And the most important thing is that you should bring your money through a bank. If you do not bring your money through a bank, if you have your friend, your sister, everybody bringing money in their pockets, is not an official certification from the central bank stating that you have the investment. So you won't get the certificate of a foreign investment, and you would not be able to start your visa process.
Interesting. So even if they owned $27,000 equivalent in shares in a Colombian SaaS, they wouldn't qualify if they haven't proven that they brought that money in from the exterior.
Yeah, but the only way is to bring it through a bank with appropriate forms that legalize the incoming money.
Okay.
And the central bank issues a certificate in which says that Sam is an investor of this such amount, and that is the starting point for the visa submission.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very important point. So how much should the company register? The question is how many shares do you, as the person applying for that visa, have registered in your name? So, if you have 27,000 worth of shares in your name, you can qualify for it, and the company could be worth 27 as well, right?
Yeah.
So, depends on your shares more importantly.
There's one important thing about that, Sam, is that many people set up a SaaS to get that type of visa, and as for now, it was granted for 1 year, and when you go and try to renew the visa, they're very detailed on just taking a look if it's just a paper company or if it's really doing something. So if it's just a paper company, probably you won't be granted the renewal.
Okay.
It's not. It has to be really working.
All right, we've got another question. Jason Blanche. We hope to work. We'll start with, is that the second part of this question? Okay, so he's asking, he's coming with his wife, who's an English teacher, and he is an IT professional. They won't have jobs when they get here. What would you suggest to them for their visa strategy?
Well, it depends on what they want to do. If they plan to set up here or they want to work for somebody else, because if they look for a job, then they could be requested or solicitado.
So like required
required by the company that is going to provide them the contract. If that is going to happen, if they're going to provide their very specialized services, there is a category for those people that can provide a very specialized service, and you would have to prove that when you submit the visa along with the papers. What is this makes you so special to get that type of visa? For example, if you are marketing, lawyers, which is not very common, because you market other type of things. Okay, you show me where you've worked, for whom, what have you done, and then you probably will be granted a very specialized visa.
That sounds like more of an advanced level visa to get if you haven't been to Colombia before. That's probably where the services that Diana offers with Colombian legal partners, based in the Life Afar HQ where we are right now, which also has co-working legal, English-speaking legal, accounting, real estate services, investment services, property management. If you want to sell your apartment in Poblado, you can walk in the door and we'll list it for you as well. Everywhere. Yeah, everything. So any services, that's what we're doing here. We're offering, we're an international living marketplace. You know, like we're kind of you know, creating services that you guys need and that we have, that our guests need and that our investors need. We're becoming an international lifestyle marketplace. If you're living in the modern world and you want to travel around the world and have you know, income generating assets, you want a space to live and work when you're in Medellin, the HQ is where you start. Where we are right now, because you'll meet people like Diana who will help you out and get those more complicated visas. Okay, so we got some coming in from YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. We gotta pay some attention to you guys. So what if you're a retiree? Let's say for example a pensioner with an income, they could apply for a 1-year migrant visa. Is that right?
Yeah.
If they have over $750 in income on that.
Correct.
What if they don't have an income? What if it's a retiree who doesn't have a foreign income?
It's hard. What the Colombian government wants is to prove that you have an income per month. So if you're falling under the category of a pensioner, you must have, along other documents, the certificate that you have been granted that pension. If not, then you would have to fall in the level of your incomes, foreign incomes, which is going to be higher. It's 4 million pesos.
Okay.
I mean $4,000.
Okay, we're gonna. Not sure if it's a question, but Crypto Moneda said getting married is more economic. Is that a fair statement?
Marriage is expensive.
Well, if he's invested in crypto, I think he can afford it.
Over time is the most expensive investment.
Okay. So there's a question here, slightly more accounting from Patrice. Would I have to pay income tax impuestos? So let's say you get one of these visas, does that mean you have to start paying income tax?
No, it's very different. The thing that makes you pay taxes here is because you get the quality of a resident visa, of a tax resident, and that comes if you stay in Colombia over 183 days out of 365. The minute that you have 184 days in Colombia out of any 365, you become a tax resident, and then you would have to see if you have to file taxes and then see if you have to pay taxes. So that's basically, if you have a visa, it doesn't mean that you have to pay taxes, because only if you stay, again, over 183 days.
It matters how many days you're here, not the visa you have.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Elisa Marchis coming through Facebook, Life Afar page. Guys, we're also on Instagram. We're showing you guys a lot of stuff. You guys really want to understand what we're doing here, start learning where we're investing, where we're generating income in Colombia, what kind of services. The closer you get and understand where we are, best places to go, Life Afar on Instagram, Life Afar on Facebook, and on YouTube we're doing some fun stuff. So we've got a question from Elisa on Facebook. I have a husband who is Colombian, but we all live in Canada. I'm Canadian and my kids have dual citizenship. Canadian-Colombian couple. Should I apply for permanent residency through my husband or kids? We are moving to Bogota 2018. Bogota, also a very good choice. A bit more of a chaotic, wild ride, but I like Bogota. It's got the diversity. It's got the mix of cultures from all over Colombia. So they're going to be opening a restaurant.
Okay.
what would you suggest?
Well, if you're married to a Colombian, then the Colombian can request your visa for you as a spouse and for your kids if they're under 25. If they're coming here to 25, if they're 24 and a half, they will give you only 6 months. But if they're young kids, then they will grant you as long as you complete the year 25. So it's could be like a beneficiary visa, having the spouse, because she will have the spouse visa and the kids will have the beneficiaries or the kids visa as well.
Okay. What happens if you have money and not working for anybody? What happens if you have Bitcoins? That's something that we're looking at down the road. In terms of having a large amount of value, you got to think, all right, diversification. Right now, if you guys are on the Bitcoin train, I would be looking at diversification. Real estate is an incredible store of wealth, something that Colombia has had a long track record of, and a very good market in that sense. In terms of generating cash flow, that's where we're combining. We're looking at properties that are traditionally good stores of value and looking to turn them into long-term cash flow. So let's say someone's coming in with some savings. What would you suggest?
Again, it would fall on the migrant, and you would have to show at least a monthly income, permanent income of $4,000 per month, like in your statements and your bank statements. So you can see that you have this amount of money, and then that will be part of the proof when we submit the visa to have the migrant visa granted up until 3 years.
Okay. So related to the pensioner visa, related to the retirement visa,
Mm-hmm.
do you need to prove that you have medical insurance?
No, you do not have to prove you have medical insurance. Medical insurance in Colombia, it's not expensive. Health services are very good. You must consider this, is that for private insurances, you must be under 60. It's very, very difficult to get a private insurance, health insurance, if you're above 60. And let's say Suda, which is like the top premium health insurance, can cost you around no more than $200 per month, and you're getting the top service of the insurances in Colombia.
Okay. All right, cool. I think we got most of your questions. Last chance, free visa consultation right here, right now. What else? Really, there is a constant process to make things more simple, and this is part of that, right?
Correct. The idea that the government has is taking in consideration that we have a lot of foreigners coming in. They want to make things simple. We want foreigners to come here to work, to have them with us and make things easier, so you could live with us and enjoy our beautiful country as well.
Okay, nice. One last question here. Would I need a work permit in Colombia? So someone who's what is that process now? If someone's going to get a job here in a Colombian company, which, by the way, I get a lot of questions about that. How to get a job in Colombia? How to generate pesos in Colombia? I'm going to do an upcoming vlog about that. So make sure to head over to Sam Life of Our on Facebook and on YouTube, and there'll be an upcoming episode, how to make money in Colombia. Sorry, continue.
What was the question?
The question was if someone's going to get a job, has that process changed?
No, the process has not changed.
Okay.
It must be requested by the company, or you can prove as well that you have the contract and that you're pending, which will be one of the comments when you submit the visa, that you're pending to sign the contract, but you have to show that you have this contract running, and of course filling in one of the specific formats that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs requires when you're working. So they make sure that you are with who you're working, and they get the specific information to grant you the visa.
Okay.
But it could be either requested by the company who's hiring you or by yourself.
Okay. Sahara, any questions from Instagram?
No, just a bunch of this and a bunch of this,
nice.
And a bunch of emojis. So, could you just mention that this information will be available and we will post that link in the next week. This event information will be available online.
Yeah. So we're going to do a write-up of all this information, include some of your questions, and help you out from there. So, you know, if you're following along on those pages, make sure to follow Life Afar, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Dominica has a question. If you are a spouse and your 5-year visa runs out, so let's say you've well, if you're getting married, you apply after 2 years. You can get a permanent 5-year, right?
Yes.
But
After after 5 years, you have two options. Either you renovate the 5-year residency visa again, or you can ask for a citizenship. A citizenship is to get your passport.
Yeah.
There's some countries that do not allow you double nationality, like Germany, for example. So you gotta resign to either one. But to get a citizenship, well, you have to take a test.
Yeah.
In Spanish.
What kind of questions do you
like
get on
history,
that?
Simón Bolívar.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
They'll ask you hard questions. Well,
Yeah.
not hard questions, but you got to review because I think I forgot mine as well. The answer.
Well, if there's any Cartagena history, make out to check out the dark history of Cartagena on the vlog channel. All right. Blah blah blah. Just check in here on YouTube. Blah blah blah. Okay. When we got Alex Cote, I'm coming back to Colombia early January after being in Colombia for 6 months in 2017. When does the personal calendar year rule start? So he's already used his 6 months this year, and he's coming back next year. Is that going to be okay?
It's going to be okay because the law is effective starting tomorrow. So the rules will apply, and your personal year will start as soon as you come in next year.
So what if he came in tomorrow? Could he spend the rest of the year here?
Well, eventually, yes. But I wouldn't risk
from tomorrow, right?
Yeah, but Make sure you have your ticket back home.
I'd give it a go. We've got apartments if you guys do decide to come. 188 furnished apartments in Cali, Cartagena, Bogota, and Medellin. Of course, if you're going to spend Christmas in Colombia, you know, Bogota, like most capital cities, everyone kind of heads out to the fincas. Medellin, I've noticed, there's a bit more people stay in town and hang out in the neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's kind of true, but we see a lot of foreigners as well.
Sure.
But there's people that we like to go to like the countryside and have our our rest there in the countryside houses.
Yeah, and Cartagena, it's ramp. Cartagena is one of the most popular places. You know, a large percentage of Colombia will go to Cartagena to celebrate Christmas and especially New Year's. And this one right here too.
Tell us what the party is, Diana.
So guys, we're gonna leave Diana's contact info as well. If you have any direct questions, send us a direct message. We'll be responding to your questions. We've got a team here that's really ready to help you guys. So whenever you guys send through questions on social or comments, we're paying attention, we're listening. We want to help you guys. That's what the idea of this whole operation is. So I think that's it. If I've missed your question, send it to us directly and we'll answer you directly. Okay.
Yeah, please take this very clear, when you address a question at Colombia Legal Partners, it's Colombia, not Columbia, because I'll never get it. Colombia Legal Partners, please.
Two O's.
Yeah, no, it's only
Yeah, okay. All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
We're shutting it down. Merry Christmas. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diana.
Oh God, being an artist is so hard.
And
And intelligent.